Hi everybody, my name is Garth Harwood. I'm the Director of Education Programs here at Hidden Villa. There are a lot of plants around us right now. Spring and summer are great times to see plants do their most amazing things. So in springtime, I like to play some silly games with plants. You can do a lot of learning while playing around with them too. This is a plant part called a foxtail. If it were part of a fox, it would be the tail, wouldn't it? It also belongs to a kind of grass that you can see all around me that's called foxtail grass. I want to show you today a game we can play, a couple of games in fact, with foxtails. But in learning about these games, the reason why they work is because of what happens with the same structure in nature. This structure also has a function, and the function is to get seeds spread from right here to everywhere else on the landscape. Because one of the biggest problems that plants face is getting their seeds spread out. If they make a whole bunch of seeds in one place in a pile, they're not going to do very well. Every little sprout that comes up is going to fight with the other sprouts for water, for sunlight, for soil nutrients. They might not do very well. So those seeds need to get spread out all over the place. How do they do that? Well, some of them use wind. The wind might blow some kinds of seeds around. I bet you've seen dandelion seeds blowing around on the wind. Maybe you've even provided the wind yourself by blowing on them. So that's one way. But another way is if animals can actually carry the seeds around. Sometimes a bird might carry a seed in its belly because it ate a fruit that had some seeds inside it, and it might deliver them miles away. But today, when we look at the foxtail uses a different trick. It likes to stick to animals in their fur. So only mammals can really do it this way. Like ourselves, we're mammals too. Right now, you might notice some little seed heads of a weed stuck in there. Those are foxtails. When these structures come apart, they make hundreds of smaller parts that could stick individually to animals and get moved around. Now, safety always comes first here at Hidden Villa, so before we play these games, I need to make sure you understand something important. When a foxtail goes from green, like this one here, to yellow, like this one here, it's not safe to play with anymore. That's because the yellow ones start coming apart, and each little piece can travel separately through your clothing or an animal's fur and go to places where you don't want it to go. It can be very itchy and uncomfortable, and for a furry animal like a dog or a cat, this could even end up in a place like their ear or their eye, which would be very uncomfortable. So when you play these games, make sure you're using a very green foxtail. Thanks. Well, I promised we were going to have some fun and we were going to play some games with it. So I'm going to start out with a really simple one. When you look at this structure right here, you might notice that it has lots of what look like, sort of like whiskers. And those whiskers each get wide at one end, and that's where the seed is located. But each whisker also has tiny whiskers that it would actually need a microscope to see on it. And they all point the same direction. And that's important because since they're designed to do that, this can travel, but only one way, because all the whiskers and all the little barbs on the whiskers all point the same direction. When I put it inside my fist like this, and I squeeze over and over again, the little movements of the muscles in my hand push that seed head forward because it can only go forward, and down it goes. So you can play this simple game by just putting one in your fist and watching it travel upwards as you squeeze your hand like that. That's kind of fun, but if you want to have a little more fun, you can get a sense of just how well this design works by putting your hands together like that, making a little V or a valley, and then shifting them back and forth and watching again how the movement of my muscles makes the seed head travel along in one direction only. It can't really go back the other way. If I made a little circle with my fingers like that and tried to push it this way, it won't travel that way. Well, I saved the best for last because you can play the fist game, you can play the valley game, or if you really want to have fun with a foxtail, you can do a magic trick and make it disappear. So you set it up like this. Take a foxtail, put it ever so slightly into the beginning of your sleeve, and then tell your audience you're going to make it disappear. And what you do is when they say the magic word, you move your hand up and down a little bit, like this. Up and down, up and down, up and down, and it just disappears. And then make sure you do some big floppy motions with your arms while you explain that even though people think it might have just gone up your sleeve, it actually did disappear. And they're going to want proof, right? So that's when you do this. You go, it's actually gone. Thanks for listening, folks.